It'd be important to have this, just slightly.
2,970% important.
I didn't even start the video yet and you're gonna start making jokes?
Oh, of course.
That's a 3.5 out of 4 stars. Speaking of 3.5 out of 4, the GTX 970. Weston, this was my first ever GPU. Back in 2015, I bought this thing when I first built my first computer. And this is actually the same one. This is what I had. It served me well for years until I upgraded to the 2070. And then Logan actually used this in Atlanta for his computer for a few years during the GPU shortage of 2020. Now, the 970, back in its day, was an absolute unit. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
It was one of the most popular graphics cards that you could get. Everyone seemed to have a 970. You know what I like about this card as well? Is when you compare it to modern cards, just how thin it is. And you know, like it's a true dual slot design. Not this 2.5, not this 3.5 slot cards, whatever. But is it worth buying in 2025?
That is the question.
I feel like back in the day, it was fantastic. Nowadays, maybe not so much, but we're gonna be testing that out today. Now, a quick little history of the 970. The card released in 2015. It was on the Maxwell architecture, which I never owned any other. I think the 700 series, if I'm not mistaken, was also Maxwell.
I believe so.
I think. And according to the internet, because I don't have all the numbers off the top of my head, the GTX 970, it released at $329 back in September of 2014. Can we just talk about the days when a 70 class card came in at 300 bucks?
My goodness, yes.
I miss those days. It was on a 28 nanometer processor, or process, not processor. 28 nanometer process, which today, what is the 50 series on? Is it on a 7?
Is it 7?
I think they're on the 7 nanometer node now.
I actually can't remember off the top of my head, but something around in that range. It's tiny compared to the old ones.
I mean, I think it's 7. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I know you will. 1,664 CUDA cores and a base clock of, you know what's kind of funny, is they went with another graphics card, 1050. But a boost clock of over 1100. It actually goes to, what's it say here? 1178 megahertz with 4 gigs of DDR5. But would you like to go over the but, Weston? I feel like I've talked most of this so far.
This was advertised to have your full 4 gigabytes of your DDR5 VRAM, okay?
Yes.
It did not actually function that way at high speed.
Now, it did have 4 gigs on the card.
Yeah, but you were not able to use all 4 in order to use it at the full speed. You were limited to 3.5.
And why did they do that? You don't know.
There's no good reason for doing it.
We don't know. You know what, let's see if Twitter's AI can. Why did the GTX 970 have 3.5 gigs of usable VRAM versus the 4 that was on the card?
Nvidia split the GTX 970's 4 gigabytes of VRAM into 2 sections, 3.5 gigabytes on a fast 224-bit memory bus, and 0.5 gigabytes on a slower 32-bit bus. They did this to save on production costs and improve efficiency with the Maxwell architecture, but they didn't disclose it clearly, which led to the controversy when gamers noticed performance drops in memory-heavy tasks. It was a sneaky move, but the card still performed great for most 2014-2016 games.
So there you have that.
There you are. So basically, long story short, it was a 4 gigabyte card, but they split it up due to production costs because even back in 2014, Weston, Nvidia was full of a bunch of greedy bastards.
Agreed, very clearly. And they lied straight up to the populace.
So they're lying greedy bastards.
Agreed.
But that's not gonna stop us from, you know, praising what was an excellent card back in 2014 when it released. And I do wanna go ahead and just see if it's worth buying on eBay, even for the 50, 60, 70 bucks that you could probably get it for. I should have researched that. I'm guessing about 50, 60. You just wanna look that up? Look up used 970, or the sold 970 listings on eBay.
Sure, give me just a moment.
Because this card, it does hold a dear soft spot in my heart, you know, like it will always be my first GPU. It is something that, you know, even though it's not really useful now, it was great for me back then. My first ever gaming PC had this card in it. When I started my Twitch streaming, it was from this card. Like it, you know, it, for me, a bit of a soft spot.
Well, I'm seeing here, a lot of them are starting at around 40 bucks. You see some going as high as the 60s or 70s.
So I was close when I said 50, 60, 70 bucks.
Yeah.
So is this card right here, this 970, will this be worth $40 to $70 in 2025? That's what we're gonna test out today. We got a few games downloaded. We have Borderlands 3, we have Starfield, Oblivion Remastered, Red Dead Redemption 2, we're gonna have Schedule 1, and we'll have Repo. So I think that's a pretty solid lineup of different types of games. For those of you that are budget ballers that are caring about Fortnite, I refuse to test that. So you're gonna have to go watch another video if you want Fortnite. Sorry, spoiler alert, I don't care. We don't like Epic Games.
They're not worth the time or the effort.
They're not epic at all. Also, Warzone just is way too big of a download right now, and we don't have the time because it is currently 1 a.m. So someone's gonna see the clock behind me and be like, oh, actually it's only 12:40. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pop the 4070 out of the rig that's here on the counter with us. The monitor that we're gonna be using is a 4K display, but do not worry, we will be setting that to 1080p because realistically, you're not getting a $40 GPU to play in 4K.
No, you are not.
Let me rephrase that. You're not getting a 4 gigabyte. Let me rephrase even further. You're not getting a 3.5 gigabyte VRAM GPU to run games in 4K in 2025 or in 2014. Let's pop it in. The first game that we're gonna test out is one that isn't really, I would say, super relevant in 2025, considering that the fourth one of the series is going to be coming out, but Borderlands 3. And I want to do this because one, it is a relatively modern game, I think, right?
I would agree.
And two, it has a benchmark mode, so you can compare it to the GPU that you have now. Now, in case you guys are wondering, the PC that we're running this on does have a Ryzen 5700X with 32 gigs of RAM, 3600 megahertz, I believe, CL16. It's a fast kit. Or it's 3200, but either way, it's not gonna make a difference with a 970, even in 1080p.
It's true.
We are in 1920 by 1080 with 100% resolution scale. We're running at DX11. This game does have DX12 support, but I don't know, does the 970 have DirectX 12 support?
I believe it does go up to 12.
With a unlimited frame rate. So we should probably run the test in DX11 and 12 just to kind of show an idea of what you can expect like with both APIs. I mean, it's not an engine change, but it's an API change. So there's our settings right there. We will go graphics quality low because this is a 970. So at the end of the day, we don't really want to push it too far. We're more curious to see what you can get. So once again, this is 1080p. It is going to be low settings, and I guess we'll just see what it does. I don't know, as you guys can see up here, GPU currently sitting at 54. Now we're obviously not doing anything yet in the game. We're gonna see these numbers go up. But there's our RAM usage right there, our VRAM. You can see GPU percentage, clock speed, and the wattage that it is drawing is 164 under 100% load. That is a lot better than my 400 from the 7900 XTX. But I mean, we're getting a solid 80 frames a second. Is the lowest that I've seen so far. That's actually pretty impressive, Weston.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So as you guys can see, you know, we're at 69 degrees, nice, at 100% load. This is obviously the temperature will go up a little bit as the game runs through, but you know, nice. Clock speed at 1329. What did we say the boost clock was? We said it was over 1100. So this is actually going a little bit higher than what Twitter's AI told us the boost clock would be on this card to begin with. And 169 watts. So hey, 69 degrees, 169 watts. Can we get a double nice in the comments? But I mean, for 1080p low, getting a solid 80 frames a second, 77 there. Oh, there was a stutter. As you can see, the CPU, I guess, is staying nice and cool at 48 degrees. Only 23% usage and 4600 megahertz. So you know that the CPU is not going to be the limiting factor in this at all. This thing is more than capable of running this benchmark, I think, a lot higher than the 970 would allow. So average FPS, 90. With our average frame time being 11 milliseconds. If we did 90, Weston, I do kind of want to see, what are we able to do if we bump this up to badass?
Shall we find out?
I think we should. Do I expect this to work? No, not at all. But you know what, gosh darn it, that doesn't mean we can't try it. I am just more curious to see with the VRAM usage. You know, like we're at 4. So we're actually using over 4 gigabytes of VRAM right now on a card that supposedly has 3.5.
Well, 3.5 for high
speed. Yeah.
It looks like we're staying between 35 and 40-ish.
Now, this is obviously for a 1080p run. The settings that we have here, this is worst case scenario. These are maxed out everything. This is not indicative of what your experience would be because realistically, you're probably gonna lower a few things, probably play on medium, right? So I think we should do a medium run as well.
I'm fine
Don't
with
you
that.
think? If we're gonna go with low and ultra high, I think we should do a nice happy medium. If you're getting this card for $40 off of eBay, Weston, would you say that this is worth $40?
I mean,
I'm actually, when you consider the price now, not the price of it being new, not the price of it in 2020 or 2014, but the price of a GPU being $40 in 2025. I'm so far, we're only one game in, but I'm kind of impressed.
so far, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. This is definitely playable.
36.25 with an
Here, let me
average
get
frame
this
time of 27.59.
So
Yeah, I do want to just bump this down. So actually it goes very low. We were on low the first time, then medium, then high, then ultra, then badass. So I think we'll just try high then.
that's what I was gonna say, is that'll be the middle
That
spot.
is directly in the middle of the two. We'll start the benchmark one more time. So the first time was what, 80? The next one was 35 or 36. I know everyone says that the magic number is 60 FPS, Weston. I have no issue playing at 50 if it's a smooth, consistent 50.
Oh, I agree. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who can't tell the difference between 50 to 60.
That's true.
There are many people who cannot. And I look at this and it's like, this is not that bad.
No, not at all.
Especially for a game like this, where it's not looking at realism.
Yep, it's just going more for the art style.
Exactly. This is definitely 100% playable.
So that one average was 47. Okay, so now realistically, I think this is where you're gonna be on this 970. It is medium settings, anisotropic filtering is turned all the way down to trilinear, which I don't know what the difference between trilinear and 2x would be. You're the game design professor. I don't know, not me. And we're in 1080p, but look at that. We are over 70 frames a second in 1080p medium.
Not bad at all.
I am actually shocked at that. I'm gonna be honest with you. This looks really good. I mean, would you play this, Weston?
Oh yeah, I would definitely play that.
I mean, even getting up close and looking at it, I mean, yeah, you can see, pixelation and stuff if you're really looking for it, right?
But you have to realize that TVs are made to be viewed at specific distances. Same is true of monitors.
And now
So-
we are using a 48-inch 4K display in 1080p. I had Windows set it to be 1080p. This is not gonna have anything more than that. But no, I think realistically, if you're gonna be sitting on your couch playing this, or even if you're at your desk, okay, because your screen is not gonna be 48 inches. I don't think if you're getting a $40 GPU, you're gonna pair it with a 48-inch 4K OLED.
No.
I think realistically, we're looking more on the 24 to 27-inch monitor size at that. But the fact that we're in 1080p, we're on medium settings, trilinear anisotropic filtering. I'm saying a lot of big words tonight for you guys. I hope you're happy. But I have not seen this drop below 65. It has been well over 70 with the lowest dip I've seen at 67. I would say right there is Borderlands 3 playable in 1080p on a 970. 100%. 100% yes. 73 frames per second on average. That is, I would say 100% worth the $40 that you would
Oh, absolutely.
be spending.
If you're a big Borderlands fan, this is 100% doable.
Borderlands 4 comes out. If you would like to see us maybe revisit how does Borderlands 4 perform on different GPUs, we have a 970, a 1070, a 2070, a 5700 XT, a 7700 XT, and a 7900 XTX, and a 4070. So maybe, when the game comes out, we can do a comparison of like every single card. I don't know, let us know in the comments if that's what you'd like to see. I believe Red Dead Redemption 2 also has a benchmarking mode, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna launch Red Dead Redemption 2. This is a phenomenal game, one of my favorites.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I was so just distraught playing the story of this game with how it went. It was so beautiful. The game's perfect.
It's fantastic. If you haven't played it, legitimately, play it.
So just without us doing anything, other than going into 1080p, it's just like, hey, no. But let's turn can I not turn the quality preset down? That's with everything on ultra, which realistically, not happening. Look at that, just changing texture quality to high. And let's apply the changes just to see if we can get this full screen. Oh, this is good. So we tested out DirectX 11, DirectX 12, and this is running in the Vulkan API. So we do have 3 different APIs that we can test out with and just see if things work. Now we're gonna go into settings. I do wanna set everything to medium if we can. I don't know why I can't just change the preset. That just seems weird to me. It shows that there should be, right? Anisotropic filtering, what the heck? We'll crank that down. So apply changes, everything's set to medium. We'll just I guess we'll run the benchmark and we will see how this goes. Run benchmark X, X. Oh, I have to hold it. Look at that. You can't even just press it. You have to hold it. See that down there? You gotta fill the bar.
That's annoying. Here we go.
Oh.
That's not great.
No, so I mean, I get that it's a winter
Game
stream, but
error. Reboot and restart.
I was gonna make a joke about it being frozen.
Hey, just let it go.
That was my next joke, dang it! Come on, Weston. Every time I want to make a joke, you have to steal it.
Well, I mean, this is why we're friends, right? We have the same mindset.
That's true. This is why we're friends. Graphics API, we are in Vulkan. If we have issues, we will change that later to probably DirectX 11 and just kind of see, because we knew that worked before. Everything else, though, being on medium. So I guess we'll give this one more shot. So we can go settings, we'll go graphics, run benchmark test. We'll see if we can actually make it out of the snowy area. Oh, here we go. And there it goes. Since you are a game design and development professor, just quickly explain for the viewers watching what the difference would be, or like what an API is.
An API is a set of code that is utilized by anybody to actually interface with a different area. Like, say you wanted to actually interface with, say, the Twitter API. You could access this collection of code that you could then use to actually set up whatever website you're using to then interface with Twitter, right?
Okay, now explain it though in video game terms.
Okay, so this is just going to be a way that, like, we have Vulkan, DirectX, etc. Those are just a bunch of different APIs that have a bunch of code, okay? That developers can then use to, like, when creating games, they can set that up so that it will then interface between the game and your operating system and all the hardware to make it so that they actually control everything correctly, get the settings in, all sorts of different little factors. It's actually very important, and your game is not going to run correctly if you do not have it.
So like the difference between Vulkan and the difference between DirectX would be what?
I mean, just like what commands there are, the code, what it interfaces with, how it sends the information across. And
also,
this is hard frozen.
This is hard locked. We're gonna have to actually restart the entire PC, I think.
We're not able to at all do a...
Nope, I tried. The only thing I haven't tried yet is Alt F4.
Nope, not even that. Wow, this legitimately fully froze it. All right, here goes the hard restart.
We're gonna give Red Dead Redemption 2 one more chance. I'm gonna switch it to DirectX 11 once we get into the game, if I can get into the game. I can't even open the game.
Are you seriously having that much trouble with it now?
I think I am, yeah.
Wow, it's seriously just hanging.
You know, I really did think though that after Borderlands 3, seeing how well that ran, I had high hopes for other games. Especially when you consider the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I think originally in 2018 on consoles. Am I wrong on that?
I don't remember the exact year, but it's been a while.
Hey, what was the release date of Red Dead Redemption 2? 2018, I was right.
Good job.
Look at me, I'm super big brain. Now, the PC release, I do believe, though, is 2020 or 2021. Actually, you know what? I can just probably open up Steam store page. Oh, 2019. It was October of 2018 to December of 2019, so it was...
Well, about a year.
Oh, a little over a year. I guess, do we just quit Red Dead Redemption 2 or give it one more chance?
Try one more time. If it doesn't give us any life here, then...
That's just weird to me that it... Oh?
Oh, this time we're getting something.
So I guess we had Vulkan and DirectX 12. Those are our only two options.
Yep.
So we are in DX12. I just realized we don't have Afterburner open.
Well, last time it didn't do much good anyway.
No, but at least we'll show the stuff. I was trying to Alt-Tab out so I could get this open. What happened to the game?
Go down to the bar and see if
It's not. It crashed. Alt-tabbing out. You know what though, honestly? We're gonna give this one more chance. I know I said that before, but I did change the API and then Alt-tab out immediately. So I do kind of wanna, you know, just give it a fair chance. We'll let the game shut down completely. We'll load it up in DirectX 12 instead of Vulkan.
It's definitely taking its time loading.
It really is. I am not a fan.
Well, I know you're not a fan. Otherwise you'd be standing there spinning all day.
My head's spinning all day, but I'm not a fan of that.
I don't know. This is taking a very long time. But this is connecting to the Rockstar Game services.
Yeah, I don't know why we just can't load the game up. This is obviously not scaled correctly.
Oh, obviously not.
Do we just call it quits on Red Dead?
I think it's going to be best just to give up on Red Dead at this point.
I think that at this point, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, as much as I would love to say is going to work just fine and dandy, we're having some issues. So now, I think one of my favorite games, and actually, Weston, you're going to think I'm nuts for saying this, but my game of the year in 2025, as of this point, is this lovely little game called Schedule 1, okay? Now, it is a very low quality game in terms of graphics, so I don't think it's gonna be much to run, but we are going to test it. But no, this game, I don't think it's running on whatever graphic engine that is, D3D11. Now, if you see screen tearing, because I see it really, really bad, that's the game, that's not your video. That doesn't indicate anything in terms of performance.
Yeah, right now I see it up here getting like a solid 100 frames per second. So.
Yeah, but Weston, show this pillar in front of me and explain what screen tearing is.
I don't think I need to explain it when they can see it very clearly right now.
More explain why it's doing that.
I mean, it's simply the fact that it's not loading in at a very good refresh rate. Like you're getting some of the old image as it's trying to load in the new one.
Now that can easily be fixed, but I think like what VSync would obviously solve that.
That has a lot to do with your refresh rates.
Oh, it's also playing in 4K. So hold on, we're doing, this is rendering 4K.
On a 1080.
And we're getting over 100 frames, we're getting nearly 100 frames a second. That's impressive. So can you play Schedule 1? Absolutely. You saw in the settings it was rendering 4K resolution. So clearly, if we're targeting 1080p, we're more than set for Schedule 1. If that's your goal, you can play it on a $40 GPU. Should we say $50? We'll say $50 GPU. So we're gonna quit out of this. That game's good. So GTX 970 for Schedule 1, Weston? You think we're golden?
I'd say so.
I think we're golden. Next game I want to try out is going to be Starfield. I feel like we play Starfield for every GPU test here. There's not a benchmark, but it's just one of those games where I like it, believe it or not. Hot take, I think it's a good game. Now, it did get repetitive after 200 hours, but what game doesn't? Don't say Minecraft, that doesn't count. So we go to settings, we're gonna go to display, just to be sure. We are at 1920 by 1080. Graphics preset, we're just gonna turn that down to medium, I think, to start out with motion blur being off.
Because we're sane.
Because motion blur can suck a butt. Frame gen off because the 970 doesn't, I mean, it lets me turn it on. Does the 970 have frame gen support? It shouldn't. That was like a RTX thing. Then there's no ray tracing in this game, obviously. So I think that with that, we are good.
So at this point, we are getting 34, 35-ish frames per second.
With a lot of screen tearing, but with VSync on, that would be fixed. But for our purpose of this video today, oh, hello.
Yeah, wow.
All I did was pause it. Adoring fan, what did you do? No, honestly, what happened? That, or did it load in more to the VRAM?
Yeah, what I think is going on is that the VRAM actually has two different speeds that it runs at. What I'm guessing is you're trying to shift between the two rapidly.
Take this down to low, just very low.
Are you gonna turn on VSync?
Should I? Upscaling, oh, FSR 3 though, so we'll turn that off as well. We don't want upscaling.
Oh yeah, we don't want upscaling. That could be part of your problem.
That's probably the problem there. Or maybe it's not.
Yeah, this is still...
We're at 7 FPS, 8 FPS. And I mean, this is very low across the board.
Yeah, this is rough.
Now, to the people at Gearbox, thank you for optimizing. Because that was the first game that we tested, was Borderlands 3. And holy crap, that ran really, really well.
It really did.
We're looking at Starfield, also in 1080p. And this is atrociously bad. I mean, as we can see here, we're getting, 11, 12 frames a second on very low. I don't think there's anything else I can do. The 970 just is not, for AAA titles, a game or a card that you want to get. I had high hopes. I don't know, man, it hurts because this card, being my first ever GPU, just has a special place in my heart. If Starfield's not gonna run, I have a very hard time believing that Oblivion Remastered will run as well. But I do want to try Oblivion Remastered because, well, I guess that answers that question. There we go. You need at least 6 gigs of VRAM, and this card has 4. So you can't even open Oblivion Remastered. Wait,
So-
hold on. I clicked OK and it launched in?
What's going on here?
Weston, I'm confused.
Hi, confused. I'm Weston. I mean, hey, it's only a loading menu, but we're getting over 1,000 frames per second.
That's true. This is impressive. We're cranking out 1,100 FPS in a loading screen. Oh, now that I said that, it dropped.
Yeah, it's you cursed it.
That's a good name, right, Weston?
I like it. All right, here we are.
Now I do just need to look. 4K. Okay. Let's change that up.
Unreal crashed.
Your game is poo-poo and can't run on my potato. Please fix so I don't have the runs from all your crap anymore. Kindly piss off. Send. If this is gonna try to make us go through the thing again, I refuse. I'm not going through another 5 minutes of building shaders. I'm sorry, that's not worth it to me. For when realistically we know it's just not gonna work. Oh. I think I broke it, Weston. I broke it again.
All right, another fun message.
Poo-poo is poo-poo. And pee-pee is pee-pee. Please fix the poo-poo so I can finally see my pee-pee. We gotta make the person reading it laugh, right?
Oh, 100%, if somebody actually reads it.
It's Epic Games, I don't care. Try this one more time. Full screen. Oh.
I don't think it's going to run in anything besides what it was.
I'm gonna give this one more shot where we obviously can't change anything, okay? We're just gonna have to say display resolution is 4K, I guess, and show VRAM on because I am scared for my life. Everything's low.
Just like my hopes for this.
Probably should turn off upscaling.
Yeah.
Even though that means then it's running native 4K. But does this card have upscaling capability? I don't think it does. I guess we can go continue. So I think it's safe to say that unless you want to play extreme indie games in Borderlands 3, you probably...
Go Borderlands 3.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Gearbox. Because
Yeah, like 3 shout outs.
that was the only game that was AAA that we tried that ran, and it ran so well. I mean, we were getting on medium settings, what was it, like 67, 68 FPS on average?
Yep.
Or it was a 75, actually. I think it was 75 for medium. So if Borderlands 3 can get 75 FPS on medium settings for an average on the benchmark, other game developers, Bethesda, I'm looking at you. Rockstar, looking at you. Do me a favor, optimize your shiz, okay? Because that clearly was not gonna be it. So anyways, guys, my GPU from 2014, my first ever build in 2015, sadly, not really capable in 2025 unless you want to do some indie games and Borderlands. That's the only logical explanation here. So if you're not going to buy it for nostalgic purposes, or maybe you wanted to throw it into, like you just wanted something cheap to throw into a NAS or a Plex server or something for video encoding, then sure, maybe it might be worth your 50 bucks. But if you're using it to game, I would probably avoid it now in 2025. I think
absolutely.
that we're kind of past its prime. Now, I guess in a very depressing way, hit that thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe. Let us know what GPUs you'd like to see us try this out with next. I have a few ideas in mind. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care.